Welcome to the Observe Day podcast, the show where we celebrate the days that matter. From holidays to meaningful observances, we bring you inspiring conversations, stories, and ideas to make each day count. Whether it's raising awareness, learning something new, or simply sparking joy, this is your space to explore the calendar in a whole new way. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I'm excited to share today's observance with you. Let's dive in. Today on the Observe Day podcast, as we honor National Suicide Prevention Month, we're joined by someone whose story shines a light through some of life's darkest battles, Richard Seeram, also known by his artist name as Rich Vysion. He's a Bronx-born, Brooklyn-based conscious rapper whose journey is one of profound transformation from mental health struggles and self-doubt to self-discovery, healing, and purpose. Through his music, Rich has built a bridge between hip-hop and mental health, creating art that not only entertains, but uplifts, empowers, and reminds listeners that they are never alone. His cinematic sound and introspective lyrics have earned him recognition from platforms like XXL Magazine, Zivo TV, and Soul Science Radio. But beyond the music, it is his message that resonates most. That healing begins when we face our pain, speak our truth, and reach out for help. Today, we will explore his powerful journey, how writing became his therapy, how faith reshaped his identity, and how his art continues to give hope to those struggling with suicidal thoughts and depression. Welcome to the podcast, Rich.
Thank you, Wisdom. I really appreciate the introduction and allowing me to share my story with your audience.
Yeah, your story has such depth. Can you take us back to the period during the pandemic when you were wrestling with self-worth and mental health challenges?
Yeah, sure. So, backtrack to the pandemic. When I preface it and start by saying a lot of my mental health struggles were even beforehand. The cyberbullying was something that I dealt with years prior to the pandemic, and my identity and my self-worth came from and still is based on my music career. So like when there were people in my school who were challenging my faith in my abilities in my music career, and they started to uh write some derogatory things in on social media via live chat on my about my music. I couldn't deal with it because I didn't really have the wherewithal or the resilience in me to be able to combat those comments. So a lot of those times in the pandemic, like even one day, like I was spiraling because of it. Like I was just going through old stuff that people were saying on my phone, and I blacked out, and I almost committed suicide in front of my sister, and this was during the pandemic. So it was just like a horrible way to like cope with when me dealing with that mental hardship, because I didn't really know what else I could have done. But I'm thankful that like I had people around me to remind me of my self-worth, and they were there to like surround me in my house, and it was just like very emotional that day for me that this happened, and I just had like a flashback of like, oh my goodness, like so much impact that I knew my music could have, but almost cutting my life too short. So a lot of it stemmed from the cyberbullying, and then I was going through mental abuse also during the pandemic. um and that was another big traumatic experience for me, because I didn't really know what mental abuse was until I got into it. Um, with a mentor of mine, and she had said certain things that were mentally abusive to me. And then after that, I didn't know how to combat that. I was told from my friend to try to do a letter so that she can see like where I am mentally with how she treated me. And then I
Yeah,
had to go back and forth with her because she was giving me a lot of pushback because she felt like I was blaming her. And it was like, well, I'm not blaming her, you per se, but I want you to treat me a certain type of way. Like, this is
yeah,
not okay. So she was like, my friend was helping me to advocate for myself when I didn't even know how to advocate for myself, because she had gone into the same, a mental abuse, but to a different
yeah,
extent with the same person.
yeah. Well, you said uh, writing became your beacon of healing. I love the choice of phrase there, beacon of healing. How did music, storytelling help you process the pain, all those things that were happening in your life during that time?
Yes, so music was very instrumental in my healing journey. I remember when I first started to write, it was something that was cathartic for me. It was very therapeutic for me to be able to express certain things that I kept inside. Like a lot of the things I was going through with my mental health, I kept it inside. I didn't tell family, I didn't tell friends that I had self-harmed for a
Okay.
while,
Yeah.
and I didn't really and music was a way for me to get out of that dark space and to process some of those emotions. I think that it was like a positive way to like deal with some of my sadness and my anger that wasn't expressed verbally. I was able to express it on the page. So for me, it's been very cathartic for me to be able to share those things in music, because I feel like every time I put out on a song, another version of me is healing. And I even wrote a song about the mental abuse I endured during the pandemic called "I Forgive You for Me." And by me like writing that song, it helped me really to forgive my mentor, but not only that, it helped me also to forgive myself for initiating the conversation with her at 3 a.m. in the morning that ultimately ended in mental abuse. So, like, for me, it was like a whole process and a whole journey of
Yeah.
becoming a more realized version of myself, because I decided to um talk about it in my music and really process those thoughts.
Yeah. Well, you know, was there a specific point in time when you realized that you had moved from being a victim to a victor?
Yes. I honestly just think the moment that I actually got out of the class, because I was in the a music class with a mentor. She was the facilitator of a music program. So I think for me was me getting out of the class that helped me feel like I was victorious, because I had a victim's mentality going into the mental abusive personal relationship her and I had, and by my friends saying, "Hey, write this letter, advocate for yourself, tell her how you feel, but then also get out of the class," because by me, if I were to stay in her class, that would be condoning everything that she did, that she was doing non-verbally behind the scenes to me via email and everything like that, and it would just confirm that, yeah, that I'm okay with her doing that to me. So I really had to like set the boundary of like, well, after this class, like I'm not gonna be enrolling again in the next month for the same class, because I knew like for me my mental health was on the line. Like I literally was suicidal after the fact that this had happened, and I said, well, my life it matters, and I need to be here for my family and for the people that I meant to serve with my music. So I just thought of it was bigger than me. So that was really the moment where I'm like, I have to get out of this, and I get to choose myself, and I get to choose my legacy. And that's why I just started to develop a more victorious mindset, because I started to delve into all these different podcasts and motivational speakers, and it really helped me to develop a positive uh, mindset and psyche.
Oh, one of the things is you realize you move from victim to victor, and you realize that your story could inspire others.
Yes,
Wow, that's really inspiring.
thank you.
Most of your lyrics, they reflect deep themes of resilience and faith. How intentional are you about using music to advocate for mental health awareness?
Yes, I'm extremely intentional. Like I didn't even really delve, and I'll go back because I never really delved into mental health advocacy until I got into this mental abusive professional relationship. Like I was on a different trajectory for my music career. My music career has always been um at least prior, there was parts of my music career that was very braggadocious, and and then also, yeah, there were instances where my music was more affirming and positive and empowering to a certain extent. I think like it really took that situation for me to realize that mental health is important, and I didn't really know that it was such a taboo topic. But I think after the fact that I got mentally abused, I started to learn like, wait a minute, like there's so many people who are struggling with the same things, because my friend was giving me showing me all these videos of like narcissistic abuse and how to combat it and how to overcome and heal. And it was just like a reminder, like there's so many people who have gone through this situation, and a part of me was saying, wait a minute, like there's something here in this situation that I went through that I can use as a tool for somebody else's betterment. And I started to think about it like, okay, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than just like a song or my experience. It's more like, well, if I can get this message out there to the masses and then to the youth, that will save somebody's life.
Before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observe Day newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind-the-scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now, let's get back to the conversation.
So I started thinking like the impact.
Okay, sorry about that. In your music, you advocate for mental health awareness. How do you balance the vulnerability and also the strength in your music? Especially when you're talking about something people consider sensitive, like suicidal ideation or trauma.
Yeah, I think for me, it's something that I don't know, I just feel empowered. I don't know how to say it. Like I just when I speak about, like, yes, I speak about heavy things because I feel like it's gonna help somebody else, but I don't feel like the weight of, like, if I talk about this heavy topic, like I don't feel like it makes me I don't feel like I compromise my self-worth or my mental health. Like I don't like do it at the expense of myself. So like if I'm sharing something like deep, like suicidal ideation, like I really feel like I've healed from that moment, so I'm not reliving it again. So when I speak about these topics, it's more like I've overcome those things, and I want to be a light to show somebody else that there's also a way out of that, like I did. Like I am the example of what could happen when you put those things in place, those I won't say guardrails, but those that positive reinforcement of like watching the podcast that says, you know what, I am enough, and watching the motivational speakers to say, hey, you have purpose, and reading the books, like all those different things have helped me a few years ago. And I realized that me, by talking about these topics, is also like helping me to realize like um there's still so many people who are still in that same struggle. And I noticed that even when I didn't really realize, like stepping like a little bit like back out of my own back into like my own headspace, I started to realize that there was a lot of people living vicariously through my music that I didn't even realize.
Oh,
So it became really powerful to kind of like step into that more.
yeah. What do you hope listeners feel when they hear your song, especially those who may be struggling right now?
Yeah, honestly, no, that's a great question. I want them to feel empowered. I want them to feel worthy. Those are the things that I wanted to feel when I was going through my go through, and when I was really depressed at home. I wanted to feel valued. I wanted to feel seen. I wanted to feel understood, but I didn't give myself that permission because I was just secluded and I isolated from a lot of people, especially family. So I definitely want people to feel like they're heard and that they're liberated, because I want them to see the value that I see in them. And I would hope that my message will shine a light on what they're really worth, because I feel like at least for me, I've struggled with a lot of self-worth issues because of my past. And that's why I write songs like I am enough as I am, and I write anthems like those, and I write messages like, legacy and all these things to affirm like, yeah, like I matter, my message matters, or songs like I'm meant for more, to encourage, yeah, like, yeah, I am meant for more, and I do have purpose in my life, and I matter. So I would hope that those songs will help other people realize that they really do matter.
Yeah. The music industry isn't always, they're not always open about mental health. There are things like suicide, trauma. Nobody really talks about that in a way that is empowering, right? Um,
Yeah.
have you faced any stigma or resistance when being vocal about these issues?
Honestly, not as much, to be honest, but there's also times where, yeah, um I feel like I put a lot of judgment on my own music because it is so visual, and I know that's something that I struggle with, and even till today, like, I wrestle with the fact that I don't know, like, I say to myself, like, am I saying too much? Am I pouring a little bit? Am I being too deep in my music? Sharing too much about my mental health struggles, like, to the point where um I always think about the impact, because I obviously I want people to find hope in my music. I don't want people to take it the wrong way. So I think a lot of the stigmas are self-imposed, of like me thinking like, hey, if I say certain things in my lyric, I don't want it to seem like I'm encouraging that behavior of self-harm, just because I've went through that, and that was my escape. Which is me not saying that that is a way to cope with things. It's just how I coped back then, and I knew it didn't serve me, and I'm grateful that I got out of that phase. But and at the same time, I learned how to find positive reinforcement for me that serves me today.
You did share the story of moving from victim to victor. I'm curious, right? What are some daily practices, routines, or resources that helped you stay grounded and mentally strong during those hard times?
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I developed like a good toolbox for resiliency because of the fact that I worked with a life coach. She really helped me to find a way to cope with some of the things that I was going through. Like, one example was positive reinforcement through affirmations, and like I do it like literally like every single day. When I don't do it, I feel like out of place, and I write my affirmations in the morning, and then she taught me how to reaffirm those same affirmations. And she, like, an example would be like, oh, if I said, yeah, I am worthy, and she would be like, the next sentence would be like, yes, you are worthy. And for some reason, that kept me going, because it allowed me to reaffirm who I am, not who I'm not. So, like, that
Yeah.
really helped me to, like, stay grounded. Another thing that I did a lot, especially during the pandemic, because that was such a tumultuous time for me, was I read a lot of books. I kept my eyes in the book like every single day. Like, I was reading a powerful book I read twice, called You Owe You, and that was by Eric Thomas, who's also a motivational speaker. And that book just gave me life. Like, it gave me like the drive and tenacity to continue chasing my dreams, and it reminded me like I still have a purpose, even though like things were tough, and there were moments where I wanted to give up on myself, and it really just reinforced like to keep going no matter what. And there was another thing that I would do during the pandemic, was I would journal a lot. Like, I would write every single thing. Like, if it was like I'm having a bad day, I'll write it down. I'm depressed, I wrote so much things down during the pandemic of the darkest spaces that I was in, and I honestly found that really healing, because I was able to take myself, um some of the emotions that I had in my head, and for me, just to put it on paper, that was such a relief, and a less of a heavy load than me having to carry all that, and on a daily basis. So that those things for me help me keep me grounded. And also the gym. Like, I underestimated the that during the pandemic, when everything was closed and the gyms were closed, I
Yeah.
ordered a kettlebell, and I said, hey, like, I want to take my fitness seriously, and it was an escape for me. Like I ordered a kettlebell, I had a gym mat I ordered, and I'm like, okay, I'll work out at home, and just me just doing it, like the endorphins and all of that helped me stay grounded. I was focused on my workout. I didn't really have time to focus on anything else around me. It was just like I was just locked in and in the zone, and that really, was another way for me to help cope when I was going through my go through.
Yeah. Well, for listeners who might be in that dark place today, what would you want to say directly to them?
Yeah, I would say, if you're watching, I would say keep going because you are worthy to be here and you don't have to compromise your self-worth or your sexuality from anyone. Like, I needed to hear that for myself because I knew, like, a part of me knew that I was worthy, but it was just stuck in that whole, like, those self-limiting beliefs and the other stuff that I was going through and all the other stuff that people were saying, and it was like a lot of like clutter. And when I started to clear the clutter, so to speak, mentally, I started to reinforce some of the things that that I needed to. So if you're watching, like, I want you to know, like, you're loved and you're worthy and you're here for a reason.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that advice. And on a final note, if music is therapy, what is your prescription?
Yeah, that's a good one. The first thing that came to mind was hope. I think. That's what drove me. That's all those things. Even from me writing my book, like the book From Victim to Victor. Like I needed that hope, that I was gonna be victorious over my dark moments. So definitely, hope, because I feel like that's really needed in today's society, and I still need hope sometimes when I feel like I'm not enough, and I challenge myself to be sitting still in that certainty and that things will always be better the next day. So I just want to encourage, if you're listening, to always find the word that I see inside you, and I would hope that you see it inside yourself too, because you are worthy to be here.
Well, which of your songs direct, directly expresses this message?
The one song that I love performing was "I Am Enough, Yes as I Am."
Okay.
That one definitely, and "I'm Meant for More." They both affirm hope and validate that person who has been struggling with self-worth.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that prescription. Where can listeners follow your journey and also listen to your music?
Yes, absolutely. For those who are watching, you can follow my music at Rich Vysion. So that's RICHVY, like yellow, SION, on all streaming platforms. I have my music out. I have my book out on Amazon.com. It's called From Victim to Victor: Transforming Trauma into Triumph. Under Richard Seeram, which is SEERAM. And yes, I'm excited to I have a few singles coming out that I'm excited about. I have a project that I'm working on. Um so I'm another book I'm working on. So I have a lot of things I'm excited for, and I just hope that you join the journey and become a visionary, because you are enough.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'll put the links mentioned in the description so listeners can click and go there to the site. Once again, it's been an absolute delight listening to your story, Rich.
Oh, thank you, Wisdom. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. That's it for today's episode of the Observe Day podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life's special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.